Okay, this is Miami 2 episode 8. Not look, I never know because they don't ever put it on the thing. But this is where the ladies get to meet the men's like best friends, which I personally think is a much better person to introduce the connections to, because I think your friend is going to talk to you differently. They're going to see things differently than your ex would. Like, all your ex does is just kind of heighten your mistakes that y'all had. Whereas your friend, they know you. They know the type of person you are. They know the type of person you need. And that to me is very important because you want someone to be able to say that's who you need in your life. Exes don't really do that because they knew it wasn't them, but they don't really know who you need or what you need. So I really think that they should just keep it to just you each need the friends. There's no more exes. We'll see if they keep that up next season. I really hope they don't. I really hope we just keep it with just a friend. Plus, I think that's way easier to find than an ex. Then Jeffrey wouldn't have had a problem finding somebody, a good reference for her dating life. But I found this episode to be really good, really interesting. So let's get into it. So the first setup we see is with Jeffrey, Cynthia, and Andre. And Andre had his good homeboy come in and talk with them. And I gotta say, I really like Cynthia, but she looked like she was going to work at an office with that long skirt, those solid black pumps, that shirt tucked in. She didn't really have on much makeup. I mean, she just didn't really look like she was ready to meet the friend, knowing what this is about. Whereas Cynthia, she looked really pretty. She looked really cute in her modern version of Velma's outfit from Scooby Doo, with the kind of like burgundy pants and orange shirt. I was like, look at Velma all judged up. But so they were asking questions and it seemed like it went good. But then when Andre was talking to his boy about it, Andre, there is something off with Andre. I don't like him. Like, his arrogance, it feels like it's just really coming off strong. And you know what, we were good when you were gone because it almost seems like he's a different person now. I don't know if he had a hand with production with him not being there. Like okay, say he did have COVID, because I'm sure they have to get tested every time they come on set together. But he said, look, don't just say, oh, I'll be back. Say I'm not coming back. Let's spice it up a little bit. And they went with it, and then he came back 2 weeks later. So he might think he's got some type of power or something. Something has done pumped up his testosterone, because this is not the same Andre that we knew before he left, okay? He is on a 10 all the time. So it was almost like he was trying to give an excuse about not liking Cynthia, because his friend had asked a question about, I can't remember what it was specifically, but her answer, she said about this emotional strength, and she had an answer, but he didn't like how quickly she answered it, how it was already there. She already knew what she was going to say, and that bothered him, how aggressive she answered it. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. When you know you're going to meet someone, whether it's a friend of the guy or girl, their family, when you just know you're meeting someone important, you already are thinking of what kind of questions they're going to ask you. And you already kind of have an idea of what you might say, because you not having an answer doesn't really look good either. So I'm pretty sure, all of them, because one, they know this show requires that they meet past people. Two, you just want to feel a little bit prepared. You don't want to have a cat caught your tongue moment. So, and I thought that she answered it, honestly, the way that she always answers it. Like, Cynthia, to me, she just knows what she wants. She knows what she needs. And so it doesn't really matter who she's talking to, whether it's Tommy in the lounge, maybe the ladies just talking with them, or the men and her connections. She just knows it. Like, you're not going to throw her off guard with a question. So that just seemed like a poor excuse for Andre that she didn't like, because really it made him say, I don't know if I trust her now. And he even said that in the men's lounge. She's like, I don't know if I trust her. That, I don't know. I'm like, Andre, what you don't like, okay, what you don't like is her ex, okay? You don't like that. So you are trying to find ways to get out of being involved with her. Which, I mean, honestly, he likes Jeffrey more. You know, like I said last time, he's someone who needs someone soft, someone who's going to be a damsel. Just because Cynthia says she could be submissive does not mean she's going to be soft. I just see it as, I'll let you lead, but if things go haywire, I'm going to step in. Whereas you won't catch Jeffrey swooping in any time of day. She don't care how left the situation is going. And I think, Andre also liked that she doesn't have an ex for him to meet. Jeffrey, the fathers are not in their lives, allegedly. So I'm just like, just be honest. You don't have to like Cynthia if you don't like what she has in her life. I mean, that just is what it is. And she has other people. Like, she's good with Anthony. It's not like you feel like you're going to do her disservice if you say you don't want her and now she's left in the dust. She's not. So be gone. But his friend liked Cynthia. He didn't really click with Jeffrey. And that won't be the last friend to say that. So the next one we see is for Mark Anthony and his friend Mark, which I'm like, I know y'all bonded over that. Mark and Mark Anthony. And he has Mercedes and Jeffrey coming to meet his friend. And again, friend likes Mercedes, not really feeling Jeffrey. And I think he really just sees Jeffrey not vibing with Mark Anthony. Like, that little soft baby thing is not going to work for Mark Anthony, because that's going to get on his nerves. I think Mark Anthony wants someone that's going to be a little bit fun, that's going to, have a big smile on their face, just be a good time. And Jeffrey is not a good time. She might be in another way, but not in a public way, because even though I think Mark Anthony is a little older than Jeffrey, like, I think Mark Anthony is 34 and Jeffrey is, I think, 32. She looks older. She really does. Like, she looks way older than him. It almost gives cougar vibes when I see them together. It really does. Not that Mark Anthony has a baby face, because he doesn't. He does look like a grown man, but I think he looks more like he's in his maybe late 20s, where she looks like she's in her late 30s. Like, there's a big age difference in, like, look-wise. They don't look good together. Like, she just looks old to me, to him. Whereas Mercedes, energy is his speed, looks is his speed. Like, that's his person, is Mercedes, not Jeffrey. So we move on and we see Lyndon having Morgan meet his friend. And I swear we just learned how crazy Morgan is every episode. It's just getting worse. It is not getting any better. Because last episode we learned about her crazy Nair situation with her ex and how she put it in his hair. She even said how it was beautiful. So there was an intention because it was his beautiful hair. A woman like that's going to go for what hurts. If he had dreads, she would have cut it off. And if he had beautiful hair, she going to melt it off with Nair. If he's like big on his clothes, she going to cut them up or burn them. Like, she going to hurt where you like it the most. And it's going to be a hard fix. So that really seemed to be the big bulk of their conversation. And she admitted that it was very planned. It wasn't like a second degree where she just was in the heat of the moment and saw the Nair and just went for it. She plotted it. She thought about it. She said she wanted a grand exit and continued with that demonic smile. And his friend was like, bruh, that is a big red flag. And Lyndon gonna say, well, how big? Like a little flag or a big flag? He said, well, how big is a football field? And I was like, yeah, that is a huge red flag. That's crazy. That is some Fatal Attraction mess. You haven't seen that movie, you need to go see it. But her doing that reminds me of her when Glenn Close's character put the bunny in the pot. That's what that is. For a black woman, okay? That's crazy. And she thought about it. She thought it was funny. She planned it. Oh, because she mentioned that she essentially couldn't get arrested for it. So she made sure she was going to be Gucci after doing that. And I'm first of all, I'm like, how is that not illegal? Like, you may not have hurt somebody, but you physically damaged whatever. So, yeah, and then Lyndon is still clearly feeling her. He just thinks it's funny. This is why I can't stand Lyndon. He is a joke. He don't take nothing seriously, but he can get mad at Corvea feeling some type of way about his living situation, but he don't think Morgan assaulting somebody is a problem. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Because you can fix your financial situation. You can't fix mental craziness. I mean, you could, but not like that. Not that easily. So, Lyndon is a joke. You know what? I hope he ends up with Morgan so she can do some crazy to him because he just think everything is funny. He don't think things are serious. He's just a joke. Big old joke. Ugh. So, we next see Sue Ann meeting Blake's friend. Blake was the only one that had a lady friend, and we come to kind of learn more about Sue Ann's past. I don't know if this had been mentioned and I just forgot about it, but I didn't know that she was a recently divorced woman. I didn't even know she was married. But I guess it sounds new because Blake seemed to mention how it can be a bit of a concern for him, you know. And he only mentioned it like a brief thing, but then he was able to kind of clean it up and say, I mean, look, we all have had things done to us that have hurt us in the past by someone else. But there is a negative stigma when someone is divorced, but it seems recent. And yeah, 2 years is recent, but it also feels like it's been enough time for you to be serious as well if you want. So it doesn't really feel like that big of a problem, but his friend just kind of, that was their focus, was her being divorced. Now, Sue Ann, I don't know how Sue Ann is a lawyer because all she do is breach confidentiality, okay? She always mentions the ladies' lounge with Blake. And she did it again with his friend. She had said, because his friend had asked her about, being there for him. And so she had mentioned how, look, Blake is always on the bottom in the ladies' lounge, but I always say, no, that's my connection. I always fight for him. And I'm just like, that's a great example, but I'm pretty sure you could have come up with something that felt more just you in general, like your own personality, because you didn't need to air out his business like that. That's what it felt like. Because his friend is not in this process, right? So if she knows, it's because Blake told her. She shouldn't know because Sue Ann told her, because she doesn't know her. And she never will be her friend like that because you're Blake's lady. Like, you can't be telling me things that go on between y'all two. And that is something that goes on between them two, is him being the bottom in this process like that. So I didn't like that she did that. She, like I said, she is breaching confidentiality because why? So in between seeing this date, we also see Morgan and Marcia meeting Tony's friend, and this was like a long time friend. He said that they've been friends since they were teenagers, so it's a 20 plus friendship, which I think is great. And they were talking about plans and the type of man that they feel that, Tony was. And I would say that to me, this really did seem to be a great showing of Marcia and Morgan again. Like, Morgan was snippy. Now, here's the thing. When Morgan came in, because she came in after Marcia in her little tribal print, she was saying how uncomfortable she felt seeing Marcia there, because she was just like, this is someone who wants the same man as me. I didn't really like it. And I'm thinking that she probably didn't think she would be there, because she knew that Blue went home. And she knew that Blue was a supposed connection for Marcia. So, so she probably thought in her mind she wouldn't be here much longer, but she wouldn't be there to meet. So she really probably thought she had Tony to herself, just like she had Lyndon to herself. And it was like, girl, no. But, Marcia lucky that her connection with Tony was never that deep, because Morgan would have been going at her. Let's be honest. So she lucky. But at the end of that time, Tony's friend was like, I like the way that Marcia answered. Morgan was real quick with it. And so, Tony hears that and thinks, oh, so you think Morgan had the better answers. He said, no, I think Marcia had the better answers, bruh. It's funny because to me, this is the second friend to say the opposite of what, the guy wanted. Clearly, Andre wanted his friend to be feeling Jeffrey, and clearly Tony wanted his friend to be feeling Morgan. And they're like, it was like a gritting the teeth, like you were supposed to say this person. But we all know who they were. They're like, at the end of the day, you're gonna choose who you want to choose. I think the only people whose opinion might have a slight influence are the family. But friends and exes, you're going to do what you want to do. So the last one that we see is with Anthony having 3 women. And I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, 3. And I know that these 3 had him meet their exes, but there's still just something off about this connection that he supposedly has with Mercedes and Sue-Ann. Because I'm still just like, where? Okay? There's a reason why y'all two met his friend together and Cynthia met the girlfriend, not the girlfriend, the friend on her own. Okay? But did anyone notice that Cynthia's energy seemed to be really off? Like, she really seemed kind of sad and down, like she wanted to just do this and get it over with so she could go back to whatever she's dealing with. I was a little bit concerned for her because she had much more energy when she was meeting Andre's friend, and meeting Anthony's friend, it wasn't. We never know what they got going on before they come to these things, but I was just like, oh no, what's wrong with Cynthia? But Anthony's friend really liked Cynthia, and Mercedes yet again voiced her opinion about fitting in with his lifestyle. She knows what he has, and she doesn't know if she can get in with that. And Sue-Ann again is just like, I don't know if you like me. Girl, if you had him meet your ex, and now he's letting you meet one of his good friends, he must like you. But I think Anthony is getting annoyed with her asking that question, because in the men's lounge, he said, look, if we, like, because, I hold, but another friend chose Cynthia, which I think is who Anthony should be with, is Cynthia. So getting into the men's lounge, all the men were talking about what went down. And of course, Andre was talking about how he's not sure how to trust Cynthia. And I was like, bro, okay, Mr. Forbes. And Anthony was mentioning about his almost essential dislike for Sue-Ann still questioning him. And and Tony was like, well, not Tony, Tommy was like, well, are you afraid of losing that connection? He said no, because if we lose the connection, it's because we just didn't have a connection. And I'm like, yeah. Sue-Ann, are you not getting the picture? Like, sometimes what you don't say says a lot more than what you could say, okay? Because I see Anthony as someone who doesn't want to hurt feelings, which I understand. And I mean, he does need to speak up if he doesn't like someone, but he also is giving the body language of, I don't really want you. I'm not really feeling you. And then it's like, Sue-Ann, you're really, to me, it's weird that she's so hung up on Anthony's feelings when she, I believe has a much stronger connection with Blake. And he's even said, I'm not ready to let you go yet. He said that last week. So for me, if I was Sue-Ann, if I was noticing Anthony's lack of, after mentioning it once and I'm still getting the same energy, I would just say be gone and then just focus on Blake, because I'm not about to chase you and I'm not about to force anything either. But Tony looked really uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable. He looked really pissed off hearing Lyndon talk about Morgan. Yet again, not really caring about the whole Nair thing. And I'm like, okay, get hurt if you want to get hurt. But a lot of, so when they started mentioning who they weren't feeling, a lot of men were saying Jeffrey. I think pretty much they all said all the women, you know. Like I said, I knew Marcia was going to be in the bottom, but I actually thought it would have been Jeffrey in the bottom with her, just because you had both friends that she met not choose her. You also had a few men naming her, even though I knew she wasn't going to go home. I just thought that she should have been in the bottom over Sue-Ann, but it was Sue-Ann and Marcia, and Marcia looked like a little schoolgirl, a little outfit. It's so, these elimination days are so awkward because they always are like, how's the process going for you? How you with your connections? That's a stupid question. I feel like it's such an annoying question. Like, just talk about the day, talk about how you feeling, how are you doing, how are things going for you. Like, I'm so tired of hearing in the process and connections. Like, those are just key words in this show, and I'm so annoyed with hearing it. Just like I got annoyed with hearing the whole love language and number one, number twos that we heard in the previous seasons. Now all they talk about is connections and process and blah 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 blah. Choose other vocabulary. But Marcia goes home, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I told you. I told y'all last week she was going home. All right, let's get into my predictions. So my predictions for next week. So they are finally doing their little weekend getaway trip. We don't know where, but it looks like something near a lot of water. I mean, they're in Miami, so something with a lot of water. And we see what I feel like finally the fight between Tony and Lyndon at the table that we've been teased about all season. And they're also fighting to see, well, who's she gonna sleep with, whose bedroom she's gonna sleep with. I wouldn't be surprised if she chose Tony and she still crept in with Lyndon. I wouldn't be surprised she went to both just to play them up. So, next week I'm pretty sure it'll be the men to go home, and so I think it'll be Lyndon. It's gonna be Lyndon. Like it to me, it has to be Lyndon. It has to be, and we'll just go from there. So goodbye, Lyndon. Goodbye. I'm so tired of seeing you. Goodbye. All right, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought. Comment about it. What are you feeling about the friends? Do you think that that's a better person for the potentials to be meeting versus exes? I also have a little poll on my community tab just to see who do y'all think is like the ultimate like success couple from Ready to Love. Is it Rashida Simone? Is it Clifton and Joy? Take the poll. Let me know how you feel. All right. Bye.